Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 79 of the video podcast, Me and My Dog and Some Yarn. Today is Monday, October 2nd, 2017. My name is Kim. I'm also known as Black Horse on Ravelry, and you can find me on Instagram as Black Horse Knitter. So welcome to the show. It has been a very long time since I saw you guys. The last time I podcasted was December 2016. It's been almost a year. Yeah, I am so very sorry for being gone for so very long. That was not my intent ever to be gone that long, and things just happened. I was not sick or anything, and my family's fine. It's just my family, life got busy and work got busy, and I just had to put my podcast on the back burner for a while. And I'm sorry I was gone that long. I will try not to be gone like that in the future. I plan on podcasting probably once a month instead of every week or every other week. That's just, it's not feasible right now. Life is just too busy, and I don't want to make any promises I can't keep. So I think I can keep the once a month. So we're going to shoot for that. And if I can podcast more than that, then I will, and it'll be hopefully just a nice little surprise. So yeah, how have you guys been? I have missed you terribly. I've missed knitting. I haven't knitted much at all lately. I've missed the community of knitters, and I've missed going to festivals and things like that. So hopefully I can get back into that if time allows. But for now, I will see you once a month and catch up on what's going on. So I'm going to start a podcast thread in the in my podcast forum, I guess, on Ravelry. And if you could, below, show me what you're working on, because I really do miss you guys, and I really do want to see what you're working on. You guys are always inspiring to me, so please, please post a picture of what you're working on, or even provide a link to your project page. That would be nice too. So anyways, where have I been, you ask? I have been just busy. I got busy with Christmas last year, and so I didn't podcast again in December. This is a relatively new house for us. We moved here last August, so we've been in the house for a year and a month, and everything is finally in its place. But last Christmas, of course, I was trying to get ready for company to come over, and things just got busy. So that was one thing. Second of all, I had hand surgery. I had carpal tunnel in my right hand. Actually, I have it in my left too, but it's not bad enough yet to have surgery. But I had it pretty bad in my right hand. It was getting to the point where I was losing strength in my hand, like, mixing up cookies or whatever. It was hard, and knitting was extremely hard. After about 5 minutes of knitting, the tips of my fingers would go numb and tingly, and so I had to stop knitting. So I had surgery back in February or March. No, I think it was February. And the surgery went well. My hand feels so much better. I can knit now without my hand and fingers going numb and tingly, so that's a good thing. So yeah, I had surgery, went great. And then in May, Victoria got married. So before that, I was helping her a little bit. She did most of the wedding. I mean, she did almost all of the wedding planning by herself. She did a fantastic job, but I did help her spray some little frames. I sprayed them gold, and we used those for the table numbers for the dinner, and I also helped her make little makeup bags for her bridesmaids, and I made them out of fabric that were wine inspired with grapes and things like that because she got married up in Napa Valley. I can't remember the name of the little town she got married at. We stayed in Calistoga, and it was just beautiful up there. I had been to California before. I had been to San Francisco and San Jose and Milpitas area because that's where I worked for a company that was based there. So I used to fly in there off and on for training and things like that. But yeah, it was beautiful. The wine country was gorgeous. Her wedding was the most beautiful wedding I had ever seen in my life. It was just beautiful. Just the scenery of that place and her wedding dress, and oh my goodness, it was just beautiful. I'm not good at inserting pictures, so I will put them at the end of the podcast. So if you guys would like to stick around and see some family photos of Victoria and Ryan's wedding, please feel free to stay at the end and watch that. Because it was really neat, and we're so happy for her. And she has wonderful, wonderful in-laws, and the next thing we did over the summer, Vince and I had I can't talk. It's allergies. Vince and I had our 16th wedding anniversary, and that was August 25th. We were married in 2001. And so we flew into Atlanta, and then we rented a car and we drove to Savannah, and we stayed there for 3 days. And then we drove back to Atlanta, and we stayed with Victoria's in-laws, which Ryan's mom, Donna, and his stepdad, Gary. And we had the best time. We went to a Braves game. Hang on, I need something to drink. I'm so sorry. I have had allergies really for weeks, but especially yesterday and today have really, really been bad for my allergies. Anyways, we went to Atlanta and stayed with Donna and Gary, and we got to see a Braves game, and we just hung out and had the best time visiting and getting to know each other better, and they were just so sweet. And then Hurricane Harvey happened. We were in Savannah, I believe, when it hit, and when we got to Atlanta, of course, we were watching the weather and everything, and we were supposed to fly in on Sunday. Well, that did not happen for us. My husband called the airport, or the ticket, the airline, and they said, "Oh yeah, you can fly. Your flight's wide open. There's no delays." And we thought that's got to be wrong. I mean, look at the TV. Look at all the flooding. So my husband called the park and ride. Excuse me. And the park and ride lady said, "Well, you can fly in to Houston, but you can't leave the parking lot because the whole town is flooded, and the street leading out of the parking lot is underwater, so there's like no way you can get out of the airport." And I told Vince, our car was fine. The parking place was up high enough to where none of the cars got flooded. I told Vince, I do not want to fly into an airport and sit there for days before I can get out of there. There's just no way I want to do that. And he agreed. So we spoke to Shirley, my sister-in-law, Vince's sister, and she said, "Well, fly into San Antonio, and you can stay here, and then, maybe you could drive back." And so we were like, "Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do that. At least we'll be a few hours from home instead of, 15 hours from home." So we did that. We flew into San Antonio. It was really late. We didn't get in till probably midnight. And but when we rented the car, they would not let us return it to Houston because they didn't want cars going to Houston, which you can't really blame them. So of course, we wouldn't have driven through floods. We were going to wait a few days and come here, but we still could not return the car here. So we had thought, well, we'll drive to Houston. We'll rent it for a week. We'll drive to Houston, and then we'll drive it back up the next weekend. And so that was our plan. But then when we got to Shirley's house, Shirley's company and Shirley's church, and they took up donations, and they had planned to come down to Houston, and they did the following week. And they came down and helped people who had houses that were flooded. They went in and helped tear down sheetrock and pull out carpet and things like that. So, but her boss said, does your family need anything? I know your family lives there. And she said, well, my brother and sister-in-law are stuck here in San Antonio. They can't get home. They could really use an airline flight to get back home. And he said, okay, that sounds good. Just buy it for them. And I just thought that was so very sweet. So we were blessed with airline tickets to get back home. So we did not have to drive to Houston and then drive back up to San Antonio, following each other to drop off a car. And that was just amazing. So very blessed. None of my family got flooded. My mom and Dad couldn't get down here to feed my babies and to let them out. They live in the same neighborhood as me, but they only live like 5 minutes from me. But the streets in their side of the neighborhood, looks like there it goes. Sorry about that. It froze up for a minute. Their neighborhood, their streets got flooded with water. It didn't get over really the sidewalk, but they didn't feel safe driving through flooded water. So luckily my neighbor Mary had a key, and I called Mary and said, hey, can you please go walk my animals and feed them because my mom can't get down there. And so she was so sweet. She came down here 4 times a day to let my dogs out and to walk them and play with them and feed them, and of course feed and water Kanga as well. So I am so very blessed to have Mary and my parents who took care of my animals while I was gone, and I could not for the life of me wait to get home and see my animals. So I'm home and I'm so thankful, and just very blessed that we didn't have any damage, no flooding. But so many people had flooding, especially out in my area. I live out in Cypress, and Cypress Creek runs through Cypress, and some people weren't near as lucky as us. They have fences down. There were tornadoes that came through the area. There's fences down and trees tumbled over, and you can tell what house is flooded because they have piles of carpet and furniture and sheetrock sitting out on the drive, and it's just really sad. But we were okay. So enough about that. That's basically all that has been going on. After I got back from our trip, work picked up like crazy because of the business that we're in, and oh my goodness, we have had call after call. The guy who took the calls for me while I was out of town, he took a picture of my desk, and it was full of, every time we get a job, a service call, we make a folder for it. You should have seen my desk. It was so full of folders you could not see my desk. Anyways, I've been really busy trying to catch up with work. I worked late every day last week. It's been a month since Hurricane Harvey hit, but we've still been so very busy. So anyways, we had, let's get into the podcast now. We had a knit-along last December, and I failed to announce the winners. And I've been thinking about this for the last 10 months. And I keep thinking, I need to make a podcast. I need to get on and at least announce these winners. And then something happens and I don't. So I am so sorry. The knit-along was the toy-along, which is hosted by the Pin, Hook, and Needles podcast ladies, and that's Marlisha and Talia. And ladies, I am so very sorry that I dropped the ball on this. I'm sorry, but I have the winners, and I know it's late, but it's better late than never. And I'm going to go ahead and announce the winners, and I'm going to email each of them and get their prizes in the mail this week. The first prize is for a bag made by me, and this is a fully lined bag, and it's got my label, Me and My Dog and Some Yarn. Speaking of my dog, I gotta stop for a minute and let you see Dottie. She is, Dottie, excuse my messy room, come here, Dottie. Oh, come here and see. Oh, look at you, aren't you cute? Come see everybody. Can you see everybody? She's so cute. She is 13 and a half, and she's doing okay. She's not doing great, but she's doing okay. She's hanging in there. She has good days and bad days, and I guess that can be expected at 13 and a half. Anyways, let's get back to the show here. Okay, so the first prize, sorry, forgot where I was. Oh, and I dropped my list. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so uncoordinated. Okay, so the first prize is this bag made by me. It has the handle, which I love this about the bags. You can wrap it around something and close it up. And I like these because when my husband and I take road trips, I put this on the little bar, you know, up by the window. And then I can knit while he drives. And this is hooked around the bar near the window. And I can just pull my yarn out of here. So it's great. Anyways, this prize goes to Missy2, M-I-S-S-Y, and the number 2. That is Melissa, and she's from Ohio. So congratulations, Missy, on the bag. This is coming to you. And the next prize is, hang on just a minute. I wanted to text my husband that I was podcasting so he wouldn't come in really loud because I think I heard him drive up. Okay, so the second prize is for Karen Louise 59, and that is Karen from Ohio. And Karen, you have won a bag. It's also a project bag, but this one is from Erin Lane, and I purchased this one last year as a prize at the Dallas-Fort Worth Fiber Festival, and it's Texas inspired. So cute. I have one like it, and I use it quite a bit. And I also purchased this Haya needle gauge. And so, Karen from Ohio, this is coming to you. And then the next prize is for La Joya girl, who is Nancy. And Nancy lives in Texas. And Nancy, you have won this beautiful skein of Mrs. Crosby. And it is just so pretty. It is a single ply, and the name of the yarn is Satchel. And the color is called Wildflowers, and it looks like Texas wildflowers. it looks like bluebonnets, and I don't know what those yellow flowers are that you see quite a bit out in the fields, but it's just really pretty. Shady, hang on. Daddy, come here. Come here, Dada. Come here. Come here. Come here. I'm sorry. I don't know how to edit, or I would cut this out, but she is chewing something she shouldn't. Hang on just a second. Sorry. She was chewing up the cat scratcher. She is, I'm telling you, one day the dog is like not doing very well, and then the next day she's just like running crazy and getting into things she shouldn't. Don't get me wrong, I like when she's like that, but sometimes, like when I'm podcasting, it's very inconvenient. Sorry. Okay, so congratulations to the winners. That was Missy 2, Karen Louise 59, and La Joya Girl. So those prizes I'm going to email you tonight or message you through Ravelry. And if you would, send me your address and I will get those in the mail to you as soon as possible. So what else? Okay, let's get into the knitting. I've knitted 2 pot holders, but I can't show you those because they are for a swap, and I don't think my partner watches this podcast, but if she does, I don't want her to see her price. So I will take some pictures and I will show you later after I know she's gotten her package. But I enjoyed knitting these dishcloths. I haven't knitted them in a long time, and I have a hole right there in that little baby basket, baby buggy. I have nothing but cotton yarn in there, and so that was fun to knit some of those. I've actually started one more for me just because I thought it was fun, and but that one is downstairs, so I'll show you that next time. Other finished objects, I made some socks for my husband. I started these when we went to Tori's wedding, and I only worked on them for a little bit. I mostly worked on these during Hurricane Harvey because I was stuck at Shirley's house and had nothing to do, so I knit a pair of socks. These I'm calling Hurricane Harvey socks. That was Shirley's suggestion, because I knitted on them during Harvey. They're from my husband. They are knitted. I am so out of practice here with my podcast, and I apologize for that. And I'm scatterbrained because of my allergies. I don't remember what they were knit on. It was something like Regia or Opal. It was a regular, it wasn't a hand-dyed yarn, it was a store-bought large company type yarn. I knit them from the top down because I like to do German twisted cast on for the cuff, and then I knit about 12 to 15 rows of 2-2 rib, and then I just knit solid all the way down, and I did the heel flap and the toe. I just did a regular, I guess it's called a box toe. It's where you decrease every other row and then you do the Ketchner stitch at the end with 12 stitches left. So that's what I did. This is in my project page. You can check it out. But these are done, and my husband is going to be so excited because he keeps telling me that I need to podcast so he can have his socks. So he can wear his socks tomorrow. The next thing I knitted, I started these after we got back home from our anniversary vacation. Shirley always tells me you need to knit me a pair of socks. And I always say, yeah, I do. I'll knit you some sometime. Well, she did so much for us, letting us stay with her for 5 days, and then having her boss buy us tickets to get back home. So I knitted a pair of socks, and here they are. These will go out to Shirley tomorrow. She does not know that I have knitted them yet. So anyways, I'm excited. I asked her what color. She said she liked bright colors, so these are bright. I used Susan B. Anderson's pattern, Smooth Operator, and I love that pattern. It's just a basic vanilla sock recipe, but she gives you little tricks and hints, and I loved the toe. She gives you like several different ones that you can do. I used the rounded toe, and it doesn't have a Kitchener bind off, and I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's a paid for pattern, but I really, really liked it. I think I'm going to use this toe from now on. You can see how much prettier it is than the box toe. I don't know if you can see. You might not be able to see. It's just so much prettier, and it fits the toe better. And so yeah, I started with the top down, and I did a afterthought heel and the rounded toe from Susan B. Anderson's pattern. So these are going in the mail to Shirley tomorrow, and I'm so excited. She loves pumpkin stuff, and I've got her a little care package that she is going to absolutely love. I love pumpkin too, and it's the season for it, right? So I'm kind of glad that these have a little bit of orange in it because it kind of ties in with my pumpkin themed care package for Shirley. So that's for her. And as far as what I've been knitting on, I have knitted on some socks for Vincent. And I started these when I was having so many hand problems, and I just had to absolutely stop. This is my pattern Harvest Festival, and I am working on the heel flap right now. Excuse me, I need another sip of drink. Sorry. Okay, so these are Harvest Festival, and I love the pattern stitching. It's a free pattern by me, so you can go to my Ravelry page and find my patterns, and this one is actually free. I have a few other free ones, but then I do have 2 other sock patterns that are paid for, but this one is free, and it's top down. And it has this neat little stitch, and it's actually really thick, so it would be a great fall or winter sock. And Vincent always comments that I've made him socks, but I never make a pattern sock, so I'm making him a pattern sock out of this. And you actually have to go up a needle size, and you have to have a higher stitch count because the pattern makes such a dense fabric, so it's not as stretchy. So you really need to make sure if you make this pattern that you follow my suggestions on needle size and gauge, because it's very important. Don't think that it's going to be too big for you, because it will not be. You need to make sure that you follow that carefully. So anyways, this is just the first sock. I haven't gotten very far, obviously, but I was only till about here the other day, and so I have finished the leg, and I've started the heel flap. So I'm making progress, right? I am really enjoying knitting now that my hand doesn't hurt so bad. And I'm trying to think about all the projects that I started that I need to pull out and finish up. I have worked a little bit on my beekeeper's quilt, and I've worked a tiny bit on my sock blanket with the squares. You can hear Shady. Now Shady's gonna bark. It's just lovely. Let's see if I can reach. Here's my little mini sock blanket. Oops. So that's, these are just the little ones. I made them 31 stitches. So I like them. They're tiny. And you can use, I have a lot of scraps, but I don't have big enough scraps to make my big scrap blanket, which I believe this one is 47 stitches. This is the big one. You can see they're quite a bit bigger. They're twice as big. But yeah, they're 47 inches. So they take a lot more yarn than this one. So the ones that I have not quite enough to make a big square, I've been adding into here. And it's going to take me forever to do this, I know. But I do like it. I think this one will be for me. The little one will be for me. And the big one will be for my husband. And I'm making something else. But it's over there too. I really wanted to show you. Hang on just a minute. I'll go get it. Okay. I'm sorry. I totally was not ready for this, was I? I'm making Christmas stockings for everyone. And I blocked this one. I have to stitch it up yet. You knit it flat, and then of course you sew it up to be a stocking. And this is just knit out of acrylic yarn from Michael's. I don't remember the name of it. It's on my project page, but I'm doing different colors. This one is for Ryan. He went to Georgia Tech, and so their colors are gold and white. So gold and white with a green toe. This one is for Victoria. She went to Auburn, so hers is blue and orange, and hers also has the gold toe. I have to stitch the names on them, and I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that. That's why they're kind of waiting. Yeah, I have to figure that out pretty soon because we're getting pretty close to Christmas. I'm knitting red and white for Katie, which is Vincent's girlfriend. She went to U of H, so Sikkim Cougs. And then Vincent went to Texas Tech, so his will be black and red. And I'm making one for me and my husband, and I think my mom and dad as well. So I'm pretty busy with Christmas stockings. I am making one more thing I wanted to show you. I got the idea off of Pinterest, and it's a fabric quilt, but it's stitched together, crocheted together. Yeah, you do like a blanket stitch around the square, and then you crochet it together. So I have squares that I have cut out, and I can't remember the dimensions. I'm going to make a project page, so it'll be up later. But you sew around it, and then you turn it, and then you iron it and top stitch it. As you can see, I've top stitched that. And then you do the blanket stitch around them. And I've got the tails here because you're supposed to weave those in after you stitch them together, crochet them together. I'm going to do the blanket stitch on all of these before I crochet them because I want to lay them out and see how I'm going to do it. But I've got yellow and green, and then I've got green and gray, and I've got a pink. Oh, and I love this one. This one's my favorite. So, I've got, oh, here's more. What I did was I used flannel on the back so it would be warmer. And it's extremely hard on my hand, though, to make the holes. So I had to buy a special little tool to make the holes, and it's just extremely time consuming. So I'm thinking if I do maybe 2 or 3 of these a week, I might in the next year or two get this finished. I think it has 144 squares, if I'm not mistaken. So it will take me a while, but it will be really pretty when it's done. So that's my other project. And I think that is all that I have. I don't think I have anything else to show you. No, I think that's it. Yep, that's it. So I will see you guys in November. And if you would, please show me what you're working on down below in the thread on Ravelry. I'd love to see it. And anyways, thanks for watching, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.